Hey guys, check out this platform rack I got off of Amazon. It's made by TKM Auto, which is a Chinese knockoff of the Prinsu rack. It's meant for a 2010 and up 4Runner. I'm going to be custom modifying it to fit my Jeep WK, so I'm going to be cutting it and making brackets, so hopefully that works out.
Destructions. Who needs those?
So it's about a $600 rack. I got it for $300 after it was on sale and using a gift card. So $300 for this rack I felt was a pretty decent purchase, and if I cut it and screwed it up, I figured I could fix it.
A little bent. I'm not surprised. I should have did this first. I guess I'll look at these real quick.
Unfortunately, I screwed up the GoPro time lapse, and I lost the footage of me actually putting this together. It really wasn't that hard, and I didn't need the instructions that much, and they weren't that helpful to begin with anyway.
Well, there it is together without the mounting brackets. I didn't put them on yet, but I'm not sure where they're going to fit on mine because this is actually meant for a 4Runner. And I think I'm going to be, cutting some of the back off, but we'll see. So today I'm going to do something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. I really, really hate roof baskets. I have one. I took it off. I don't use it anymore. I don't use it anymore because it's smaller than the roof rack and it's got sides that it's a basket. So you can't have big stuff on it without it looking goofy. I'll post a picture of what mine looks like. Whatever. It's the biggest one I could find that I didn't, want to spend too much money on. But you lose all sorts of space. So my plan is to take off this stock rack, and I'll show you guys how to do that. And I built that, and I'm going to put that on. And that's actually for a 4Runner. It's essentially a Prinsu style roof rack. I mean, it's got crossbars that are extruded aluminum. It's pretty neat. I'm going to have to cut it, and once I cut it, I will not be able to return it. So I am hoping that it's going to work out. My only other concern is the noise. Everybody says, oh yeah, they make all kinds of noise. And I know I had that problem when I put the basket on, and I wound up putting something similar to a pool noodle, and that eliminated that problem. But also with this roof rack, which I got off Amazon, I'll link that in the description. What I've read in the reviews on this particular roof rack is that once people hit like 75, maybe 80 miles an hour in their 4Runner, they get all kinds of shaking. So the actual vehicle starts shaking. I'm kind of interested to see if that's going to happen, and if it does, what I can do to remedy it. I mean, I don't really go 80 miles an hour too often. And I'll show you how I take this roof rack off of here. I'm just going to start here on the driver's side. Show you guys that this is a cover, and basically there's two bolts here. I'm not sure, there might be a third one up in front of that. If there is, that'd be really cool. There's three clips. There's one here, and one in the back. And you can just start on whatever side. Try to find that clip. If you can push it in and pull up at the same time, sometimes both sides will come out. I've already had this off just to check it and see a couple weeks ago before I ordered this thing. So you can see it's just a tab that goes from the back side, clips into this. So if you can get in here and push into each side, you can pop it up. It's kind of hard to see in here, but that tab is there. Then you'll see you'll have some star bits here. And one here, one here. There might be one up here. I'm sure once I unscrew this, I might be able to see that. Let's slide this forward maybe. I have had these bars off when I was trying to figure out what to do up here, what I'd like to do up here, but I have not had this bracket out of here. So I'm gonna go grab some Torx and see what I can do. So it's most likely a T27 or a T30, but my T30, actually it's probably a T30. My T30 is broken. So I'm gonna try a T27, see where that gets me. Not tight at all. And there's just two. Okay. So my guess is there's two per corner. Not super worried about breaking this plastic piece, but so I don't plan to put this back on if this works. This one side. Nice. I'll tell you this much, this is way lighter than that one up there. Than the new one that's going on. This thing is nothing. Thing's got to weigh like 80 pounds. The new one. Well, I'm gonna lower this and just see how it looks. I forgot my freaking, what you call it? I wanted to throw down a tarp just to protect it, but I forgot it.
I honestly don't think I could have done this job without this electric hoist I got from Harbor Freight. There's no way. I would have had to have had somebody here, and we would have had to lift it on and off too many times to count. But thankfully for this thing, it was definitely the star of this video. I measured at every corner just to make sure this thing was completely squared, even and at the right spot for this front fairing to land on the roof. Because the curve of the Jeep actually kind of worked with the curve of that fairing.
5/8.
So I'll show it later in the video, but I did actually wind up pitching the roof rack up in the back and down in the front. Just a little bit, I want to say maybe like a half an inch, because there is a curve to the roof line on the Jeep. So this actually made it flat and it made it work out. I also used some of the foam packaging to protect the roof, to basically protect the paint while I shifted this thing and moved it around. That's what you see me lifting up there, that white foam.
I think if I can make this work, I'm gonna really like it.
So here I'm just going through and discovering that I can't use any of the brackets that came with this roof rack, so I'm discovering I'm going to have to make my own at this point.
To the toilet. My wife is always nagging me about getting rid of this stuff, but there's a reason why I keep metal around, because there's, you know, tons of different things you can do with all sorts of stuff in here. So I bet this will work perfect. I need a 2x2 piece with a 90-degree bend, and I don't have a shop press, so I'm going to try to cut my own. All right, got my brackets prepped for holes. Just gonna mark everything out. All right, so I made all 4 of my brackets. They're all the same size roughly. The ones in the front are a little bigger because I made the back ones just a little small, so I decided to make the front ones bigger. But anyway, they're basically a 3x2, and they should be about 6 inches long. Made 4 of those, and then I went ahead and I have them all clamped, so now I can lift this thing up. Hopefully lift it up nicely. All right, the reason why I did it like that is because I drilled, it's a bad example, I drilled 3 holes on the edge here. So I've got to drill through this, through the rack itself, and it'd be easier off the vehicle. Well, good morning, YouTube. It's another day. Yesterday I got way too hot. It was about 90 degrees and super humid. I mean, so humid like you could see it in the air. Anyway, with the heat, I get overheated really quick, and you'll see like the veins bulging out of my forehead. That means I'm done. And I got the brackets made, and I started drilling the 3 holes in each bracket. That's how far I got last night before I said I'm done. So I just have to drill out the other 2 brackets here and get them mounted, and then make sure everything fits. And if everything fits and works, I'll take the brackets off, get them prepped and painted, and hopefully get this thing mounted today. The other thing I got to do yet is I've marked it right about here where it has to be cut. So what I'm going to do is I got to take this back panel off, remove this bar, and try to figure out where I'm going to be able to put it right here, if I can put it right here. So I'm going to try to figure that one out. I might have to put a hole in here somewhere, and the slot kind of messes me up. So I'm not really sure best option here, but I might do something to, maybe I can weld a little piece here. Speaking of welding, I would have rather have welded this bracket on, but the finish on this is pretty nice actually. I was impressed with it. It's not just paint, it's got like some type of textured finish to it. Seems to be holding up when I'm dragging it across the concrete and whatnot. The other thing I want to do is I want to put a bracket here. So this should have had 3, or maybe I'll just put another bolt in here too. I'll get this straight. You can see there's this little gap where these 2 panels meet. Maybe I'll put a bolt in each side. So I feel like it should have had 3 bolts instead of just 2 or 4, I mean. So that way, hopefully it'll stop it from flexing. So my goal is to replicate this over here. Just not sure exactly how yet. Might actually pull this bracket off of here. Well, I feel like this is the point of no return. I've got this marked out where I need to cut it, and once I cut it, can't return any of this. So I've already drilled holes in it too, but once I cut it though, it's over. Oh shit. Already fucked it up, see? That hole doesn't line up. I was mostly worried about this. I have an idea though. I think I could take this cutoff piece and I can get those to line up somewhere. These ought to line up. And then I'll have to drill out my 3 holes into this plate. So I was going to come back and cut probably about that much off. But if I do that and then I have this piece overhanging, it would look like this. When I go to put that other support bar in there, it'll be off that much, of like 1/8 of an inch. So I think what I'll do is I'll just notch out where the holes are going to be for that support bar. And then that way it's the same thickness all the way through and doesn't put a bow in this. This would have to dip down on both sides, if that makes any sense. I don't know. So I'll just leave this right where it's at. And I'll just have to drill 3 holes up through here from the underside. Now you can see what I'm talking about with these bolts out of the way. This will sit right there. I can bolt this back in place. And I'll probably cut it. Maybe I'll cut it about here. And I'll leave this piece and then I'll have a mounting piece, and that way this is the right thickness between here and the piece down below. There, with that cut. Perfect. The only thing I'm noticing too is that this piece is actually, it gets wider. So it's narrow here and it gets wider here. I don't think that's a big deal. As long as I got the top lined up, I think it'll be all right. I know I've got plenty of clearance in the back. So what I'll do probably is take the grinder and just make this so it like dies into it. Screws are long enough, which is pretty cool. Well, the next thing to do is drill some more freaking holes. I just got to shave a little bit of that corner off. Cool. I wish this thing operated a little smoother. I like it. It's gonna work. So I'm just gonna pull all that back off and pull the brackets and paint everything. So I'm gonna go with a matte black. I was gonna go with flat, but I think matte will match actually better. I love these little gun cap sprayers. They help your fingers. The things you enjoy when you get old. Less fatigue. Do a couple coats just like that. So I did paint the whole thing just so that way everything matches. It was pretty close, but you could see that it wasn't quite the right thing. I also went ahead and put 2 more screws in this center bracket. I didn't paint the rails, I just painted the outside that you'll see from the outside. And that doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna tighten everything up once it's up on the Jeep. And I'll probably go through and put Loctite on everything that doesn't have Loctite. So it's been a couple weeks since I put this thing on here, and I love it. It's great. It's exactly what I was hoping it would be. A couple things to note is that they are rib nutted in. So the factory mount locations are actually rib nuts into the sheet metal. So I may wind up adding another bracket maybe here or somewhere in the middle of this at some point. I'm not really sure yet. And probably put a light bar on it and put side lights on it. You can also see the brackets I made. They're not, you know, I didn't take my time. I didn't line up the bolts and make it perfectly straight. I didn't cut the top of the bracket down. I don't really care. It looks good enough to me, you know. Something else I did, I put Loctite on every single bolt just so that it wouldn't rattle apart or whatever, make noise down the road. So I was worried about the reviews on Amazon about, you know, people experiencing vibration and noise and deciding to take the thing off and remove it. It doesn't make any noise. This thing's solid up here. I have gone down the highway at about 80 miles an hour just to double check and to make sure that there's no problem. Nothing. So I'm happy about that too. And I didn't waste a whole bunch of money. So if you're looking to do something like this, it's fairly easy. It took me a couple days just because I could only work for a few hours at a time, and of course trying to film, which I did lose a whole bunch of footage and audio. Seems to happen to me lately. I actually finished putting this on about 2 weeks ago and started editing and discovered that, you know, I lost a whole bunch of crap. So I had a time lapse of me building the platform rack, and didn't happen, so that sucks. You know, I really wanted to get some space back in my vehicle when we go on trips and my dog has somewhere to sit and she's not crammed in the back seat next to my tent. So I have an RDS gear tent, and it's pretty freaking heavy and pretty big, and it basically has to go in between the driver and passenger front seats, and one of the seats has to be laid down in order for it to fit properly. The bigger back seat has to fold down in order for the tent to fit, so that kind of sucked, and it really sucked up space. So this will make my dog happy as well, at least I hope. But I'll show you guys that RDS gear tent in another video at some point. I really like it despite it being heavy, but I'll show that here on the Jeep. There's also other cool things with this rack you can do. There's so many different options. I mean, you can add all kinds of stuff because it's that uni strut and it's T-slot, which means double T-slot, so you can fit two bolts or one bolt or whatever, wherever, even on the sides, on the front, on the bottom if you had to. And that leaves you so many options for mounting gear, all kinds of gear. Rotopacks, recovery gearboxes, recovery boards. You know, I probably wouldn't stick a rooftop tent on this thing just because of the way it's mounted to the Jeep. Although it is factory mount locations, I still wouldn't do it. I highly recommend it over the factory roof rack, and definitely I highly recommend it over a roof basket. Way more space, a lot more versatility, a lot more you can do with it. You can go to the drive-in, sit on top of the damn thing, on a chair. Maybe, I don't know, if you got a drive-in in your area. I do. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, thanks. If you don't have to like it or subscribe, who cares? There's too much other shit going on in the world to like and subscribe a dumb YouTuber videoing his fucking Jeep.